guys, welcome to another episode. It's the Good Life. My name's Anthony Chow, joined by my co-host here, David Herring. We do have a special guest today. His name's Josh Yee. He was behind the camera last
Yeah,
episode,
yeah.
but I just couldn't help but think that he just adds such a different, interesting facet to I think a lot of these conversations. So he's here today. We are going to be talking about burnout
Woo, woo, woo,
today.
woo, woo,
So
woo,
super
woo.
juicy topic.
Oh yeah.
Super real.
But first off, what have you guys been up to? David, I heard you just got back from a crazy trip.
Yeah, a crazy trip indeed. I went out to what we call Kearsarge Lakes, I think.
Kearsarge Lake?
Kearsarge
Is
Lakes.
that how it's actually pronounced?
Yeah, Kearsarge.
Kearsarge?
Like here, like come here, and then like Sarge, like like
Okay.
like together.
Okay.
Kearsarge.
Okay.
And it was a really rigorous, I think, backpacking trip,
Mhm.
but it's out and back, only 12 miles. That was
Okay. Only 12 miles?
it's I think depending where you're at, standard wise, it's like it can either be a bit much or it can be like you need a little bit more.
Okay.
But it was great. I
Okay.
think on so many levels, like mentally, it was very challenging for me, and it
Mhm.
brought up a lot of good character development understandings about kind of just where am I at in building physical strength, etc.
Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the trip, and it was great, really.
It was great.
Yeah.
You look like you went on a 12-mile hike.
Yeah, faces.
Dude, I was saying
Yeah.
your face changed like 2 skin colors.
Actually,
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of went down the color palette, I think.
Yeah,
huh?
dude.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was like, was your mentality like the same all the way through, like on mile 1 versus like mile 12, or do you feel like you had like, was it labile? Like, did it change throughout your journey?
I
You know what I'm
think
saying?
I definitely understand what you're
Okay.
saying. I
Okay.
think for me, I'm very discipline driven.
Okay.
So the constancy of consistently showing up with the mentality of just like I'm gonna be present and I'm just gonna keep pushing through
Mm,
was just the same mentality I carried
mm,
all the way.
mm,
And I think the one thing that was fluctuating and different and that changed was of course the path.
okay.
The path was definitely different. Like
The path, what do you mean the path?
like
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 the
like
direction you were
walking.
going?
Well,
Okay.
more of like the trail itself.
Oh, okay.
Like you're gonna have some very like high peaks areas
Mhm,
compared to stepping over some like wood or
mhm,
some stone,
mhm,
some shrub or bush. And I think I found that to be very like fulfilling
okay.
to recognize, okay, I'm coming here present,
Mhm,
fully engaged with whatever this experience is,
mhm,
but at the same time it can actually like enjoy
mhm.
what I'm doing.
Mm. And it's also too, it's like it sounds like a part of that enjoyment was also like taking a different route than you like something that was unfamiliar, even though like, it was familiar that you were backpacking,
Yeah.
but it was not familiar in some of the different routes that you were taking, so that like made it fresh in its own way,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah, I mean the thing is, I think that's the one fascinating thing about backpacking is you almost carry your entire life on that backpack,
That's terrifying.
and if you miss
That's
something,
literally terrifying. I
it's
don't know,
like
but
you kind of if you
it's like, oh, I
fumble,
forgot my water. That
right,
means I'm gonna
right,
die.
yeah.
Like, what is this?
Except that's like the thing that you don't really forget about. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
anything else.
I would forget that.
I mean, forget your phone, forget your smartwatch, forget
Yeah,
all of those stuff. But
yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
I mean, water is it's so critical.
Yeah, sure.
But I love how like if you don't have water, like you're absolutely cooked.
I've
Yeah.
but I feel like looking back, and I want to hear your thoughts too. It's like I feel like because of that, it requires you to really know what your essentials are,
Oh, that's
right?
good.
Because like if you don't bring your water,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say you're cooked, but you're cooked.
You,
Like
yeah,
there's nothing you can do without water.
that's right.
Or if you don't have food.
Mm.
And I feel like, and we'll probably get into this later, like I feel like that's also like an essential part of like not burning out is like I think sometimes we go backpacking without our water.
Right.
We're like, oh, we can do it without water. I'm stronger
Yeah.
than that. But then you realize, oh my God, I can't do it without water.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll talk more about what that water could mean. But what do you
Really
think?
good.
Cool.
Yeah.
But,
And
I mean, why do people even go like backpacking? Like, what's the like why would you want to go a few days without shower, like eating dry food? What's the
So
what,
good.
what's the
Man,
what's the
I didn't even have dry food. Like there
dude?
was
Wait,
no
what
fire.
were you eating?
Wait,
Like
it's eating dirt.
I ate
Yeah.
raw, just straight raw, like
Hunting, huh?
like some raw stuff.
Hunting and gathering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It was like canned foods that
Okay.
we didn't have a can openers.
What are you
We just
cracking
had the
open like
nice
pinto beans?
nice easy. Yeah, okay, it wasn't pinto beans, but
Okay.
it was like
Black beans?
I think pork and beans is what it is.
Okay, you
So
with it.
yeah,
Go protein.
survival instincts, you know,
Okay.
kind of you just needed them to be met.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in correspondence to I think burnout, um, when we talk about backpacking, I think it is such a healthy escape from the continuance of productivity. And
Mm,
you can be still productive whilst backpacking,
sure.
but you're not doing it in the same way, I think, in a very broad lens that society might ask you, where
Mm.
it's like, show up to work so consistently with this harsh schedule, or provide for your family on this, specific date, or, kind of show up for yourself in ways where it's like society demands that. When you're out backpacking, for me, it was a very big let me disconnect from all of that.
Mm.
But
And
the intention was to remove yourself
Like the
from.
unplug.
100%.
To
Yeah,
unplug.
definitely
Yeah.
to unplug.
Mm.
Yeah. And you really find yourself in this unique space of how can I carry almost like the productivity that you still have when you're working in society, but not necessarily carry it out the same way.
Mm,
I,
Like
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
you see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. No, I know
Yeah.
what you're saying. I mean, it sounds like it's like you want to output the same energy of productivity,
Mm,
but in a manner that is focused in a different direction.
wow.
Right?
It's
Right?
like Josh just like read my mind.
Yeah.
Like, it's
No,
crazy.
but that's I hear what you're saying, and I just like, and I want to hear Anthony too, like,
Yes.
because he and I have talked about burnout a lot,
Okay, awesome.
particularly in relation to like work, right?
nursing
Because
school.
nursing school and like working and it's like, and maybe we could just like jump right in from there. Like Anthony, like, do you feel like when it comes to burnout, because we've talked about burnout a lot, like, do you resonate with like what
Unfortunately.
he's like with what he's talking about in terms of like gearing your energy like the same level of energy, but in a different avenue.
Yeah,
Like I guess
sure,
maybe
sure,
even
sure, sure.
maybe getting into like what does productivity mean?
Oh man, that's a good
You know what I mean?
question. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think okay, so no, that's good. I think I want to back it up there because I
Yeah.
think like you bring up the idea of productivity,
Yeah.
and I think part of the result of productivity sometimes is burnout. If you guys would agree with that, like
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
are so driven towards productivity,
Mhm.
Right.
like you want to do this
Yeah.
to-do list, like
Right.
I don't know if you're type A people, but
Oh no, I
um,
am. No,
like David's
I
clearly
didn't
it's clearly not. Have you seen his room?
What?
I actually haven't.
Yeah, but anyway, so yeah,
I actually haven't seen his.
but what you're saying, going back to what you're saying is
Well,
like
that's what- yeah.
like being productive can sometimes for certain people lead to burnout.
It,
Like what do you
I
mean?
think,
Expand on that.
okay, yeah. Let me flesh that out.
Yeah.
I think it's good and bad. I think
Okay.
productivity is a great thing, right?
Yeah.
Like I think it's good to be able to do work. I think we're
Mhm.
blessed in that way to use our hands
Mm.
to, in some case, like provide for our
Mm.
people, for our families, for whoever it is that we're taking care of.
Right.
But I think also that idea of like doing too much
Mm.
or like doing and constantly doing and never really having a break.
Mm.
I think that may be where you run into issues.
Yeah.
Mm. So it's not the doing that's bad. It's like the doing, like the act of being productive that isn't bad. It sounds like it's more of like an unregulated productivity.
Yeah, I think it's hard to put a label on it.
Sure.
Like to say it's
Yeah.
good or it's bad,
Right.
like productivity.
Right.
I think there's always that saying of like too much of anything isn't good, right?
Yeah.
Like too much of productivity, I think there's
Yeah.
both sides to that we can
Right.
explore.
Mm.
Right.
But I think that's definitely a really interesting idea.
So like when in your life, as we've talked, he and I have talked a lot about this before, but like
Yeah.
what like in seasons of your life that you have been experiencing burnout, like what was that like? Was that what were your feelings? Like how did you feel physically, emotionally, mentally? And how, I guess part two to that question is like how are you feeling about your productivity while you were feeling burnt out?
Yeah, no, that's such a good question. I think
You know what I'm saying? Though?
in yes,
Okay.
yes. Yeah, I think to expand on that, I think during seasons of burnout, I think it was definitely, and I'm very prone to this, I think, as
Mm,
someone who wants to always try to achieve more, that
mm,
wants to strive, for the next PR or like the next bigger
mm,
thing. I
mm,
think maybe you guys resonate with that. But the idea like that there's always more to achieve. There's always something else after this graduation. You can
mm,
get your bachelor's degree. I mean, Josh, you're
mm.
working on your master's
Uh,
without like any break in between. Like you basically signed up for 2 degrees.
yeah,
I don't know
I
if you knew
did.
that, but you
Oh
did.
no,
Yeah,
I did.
yeah,
I knew
yeah,
that. I knew that.
yeah,
I knew that. I knew
and
that.
I mean for you, David, like you're exploring like after graduating college, like
Right.
there's that after period time, right? Like
Yeah.
you're looking to achieve something else.
100%.
I mean, but I think the question I that comes up for me is like, why do we have this desire to always achieve more?
Mhm.
Is that rooted in a deeper like angst? And
Mm.
I feel like you have something to say, David, but
Oh,
I'm gonna
that's
finish up
good.
here.
No,
Like
you're good. Good.
like
Please.
Wait, wait, expand on that. Like, what do you mean by
like
like a deeper angst to achieve
yes,
more?
like that idea that like I think I often ask myself like, why do I have this desire to achieve?
Okay,
Like where does that come from?
okay.
And it's
Okay.
obviously not a bad thing. Like I was
Hmm.
built with that like
Hmm.
that hunger, right?
Yeah.
Right.
To want to
So
achieve
like
more.
do more,
Hunger.
feed
That's a
more.
good word.
Yeah.
That's a good. Yeah, that
Yeah.
actually describes it really well.
Yeah,
Right.
like you want that,
Yeah.
Because you're hungry for it.
Right.
Yeah, you want that. And it's
Yeah.
something that I think is really good, but then at the same time like it has downsides.
Has
But
drawbacks.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that's great. What exactly did you want me to respond on? Sorry.
I think just the idea, I think that like I mean it looked like you were gonna say something earlier, but the idea that like you have, a lot of like you want to achieve something. Like
Yeah.
and like where does that typically like why I guess we have those desires too. Like where does that come from?
That's really good. I think you said the answer yourself. It starts with your why. And what I mean by that is every single person I think has an understanding of somewhat what feeds their why.
Hmm.
And
Mm.
the more that you understand your why, the more you feed all these other things that you do in your life.
Mhm.
And it feeds into that bigger picture because at its source, once you know your why, you're able to feed all these tiny little things that give back to your why and you get a deeper clarity of that big why right there. I know it sounds very repetitive, but think of it like a cycle. You're going to start at one place of a circle
Okay.
and you're going to continue to keep walking your life. And it's like, okay, I'm going to understand that all of these different little parts of this path that I walk in the circle is bringing me back onto this track.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then when you close in back on that beginning of that why, it's because there's other parts of this piece of the circle that help you understand that. And I feel like it almost encloses the big idea of like what you're trying to capture essentially out of all of them.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm hearing you say,
yeah.
and maybe that's gonna be my role in this podcast is
Mhm.
just to reiterate everything.
Please. I feel like I kind of
Yeah.
threw out like a snowball.
No.
Like,
I'm getting.
you know,
I picked it up. So it's like what you're saying is like when you start pursuing something big, like the backpacking,
yeah,
right? Or a degree, or
yeah,
a job, like a new
Yeah.
job, like the why of why am I doing this can sometimes seem vague and small.
right.
And you kind of going into something big like that, sometimes your why, at least for me, like I feel like sometimes my why sometimes isn't big enough to justify me pursuing that thing,
I see.
right?
Yeah,
But when yeah, but the thing is, like you said, when you experience more of that journey,
yeah,
it reinforces and expands that why. And by the
yeah,
time you finish that journey,
yeah.
how hopefully your why is fully expanded and comprehended,
Right,
right? So like
right.
like for me, right, like I'm in nursing school
Mhm.
and I'm like 3/4 of the way through it, so I'm like I'm most of the way through it. When I first started nursing, I'm sure like, for people are familiar with like the concept of imposter syndrome,
Yeah.
where it's like
Mhm.
I like go into something and I fail at it and I'm like I don't feel like I could be a nurse.
Yeah,
Or like I don't feel like I could be a good student or whatever,
yeah,
like or I'm sure people have that when they're parents or just anything, right?
Yeah.
Um but the further I've gotten into my journey of being a nurse, the more I've been affirmed of like, yes,
yeah,
this is it. yes, this is why I'm doing this. I have that experience of helping a patient, and it totally changes their experience in the hospital. I'm like, this is why I'm doing it.
That's good.
Versus when I started, I was like, I like helping people,
Yeah.
and I think I'm good at science, but that's pretty much the extent of my why,
So
you
you're
know?
okay. So
You know what I'm
just
saying?
yeah, I do actually want to build off on that though. I think you
Yeah,
said something pretty interesting. The idea that like your why expands as
yes,
you go.
yeah,
So are you saying that you essentially start with a why, and that
yeah.
why can change or morph
Yes.
into something bigger? Like, can you build off on that a little bit?
Yes, so I think that, even so I think that that's even more true because you know when and I think that's even interesting that you mentioned that because the why, as much as it can expand on the original why, so like for example for me it's like I wanted to help people and I
Right.
knew I was good at science and I was like, okay, well, this works, you know, like
Yeah.
this is a pretty obvious why,
Yeah,
like
Right.
yes, it clearly translates well, you
Yeah.
know, but then as I went into it more, I realized that there is a need for intentional
Mm,
service
Mm,
in the
okay.
healthcare field
yeah.
That's good.
that is beyond just helping people physically. It's
Yeah.
helping them emotionally, it's helping them spiritually. And so my why was no longer just I'm good at science, I'm good at helping people. It's I want to meet this need.
Mm,
There's a need there that I want to be a part of God's kingdom and addressing, you
mm,
know.
It's
And
like feeding that hunger that we were just mentioning
yes,
earlier.
yeah.
yes, yes, but interestingly, and
Mhm.
maybe this is kind of a pivot into burnout, is like I think
Yeah.
sometimes for
Right.
people like us who are, and this doesn't go for everybody,
Right,
right?
right.
But like for myself, like I've always been pretty driven,
Yeah.
pretty driven. Like when my last semester of undergrad, I was working 52 hours a week, and I
Wow.
was taking 7 classes,
Wow.
which might sound crazy, but he was doing he was doing something similar.
Hey, man.
Wow.
I'm not putting you on the
That's
spot,
amazing.
but
So I'm like the oddball out there.
no, 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 no,
I'm
no,
like working
no,
like
no, no, no,
like half a
yeah.
part time. It's like 10 hours a
No,
week
it's-
and like
no, no, no,
taking 2 classes, you know.
no,
You gotta
no.
step up your game.
Dude, my
But
bad. I'm sorry. I'll
no,
do
but
better.
I wasn't saying that. I wasn't saying that to say
Okay.
like people who
God.
aren't doing that level of load workload aren't being productive, but
Right.
it's your every person has their own sort of limits of productivity, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And so like going back to like the topic of nursing and productivity and burnout,
Right.
especially in the midst of like achieving my why, which
That's
is the
good.
motivator,
That's
right?
good.
Um, like this, I'm still working by surprise. I'm working in the emergency room, and I'm taking full-time classes, and I'm doing a bunch of other stuff like working out and trying to feed myself. All good things, all feeding my why of like serving others and doing good.
Mhm.
But I feel like sometimes with the why of like I want to serve people, I want to help people, at least for me, I feel like I'm so focused on the why, I'm so focused on what I'm doing that I push my needs to the side.
Mhm.
And that I feel like is ultimately what leads to burnout. So like going back to what you were saying, we were talking about like backpacking, right?
Yeah,
Like
that's
the
good.
water, right?
Right.
I told you I'd come
Yeah,
back to it,
that's good.
right? So
Full
like with the
circle.
water, yeah.
There you
But
go.
with the water, right? Like I felt like for me, I going into nursing, I was like, I don't need
Yeah.
to work out.
All right.
I don't need to
You
journal.
were
I
compromising.
don't, yes, I was compromising
Mhm.
because I said my why's so important. I'm so focused on achieving this thing that satisfies that why
Yeah.
that I'm not focused on what is actually necessary for me to do that, to complete the task, to
Oh, that's good.
satisfy the why. So it's like it's this weird like paradox where like on
Mhm.
one hand you're doing these great things like or we're serving others, I'm going to clinical, I'm learning these amazing skills, but on the other hand, I'm so focused on learning those skills. I'm so focused on
Yeah.
achieving that goal
Yeah.
that I'm ignoring what I actually need, the fuel, the water, the necessary parts of my life. I
Yeah.
need to actually achieve those things.
Mm,
And that ultimately, I would say like maybe around two or well, honestly like right now like that's causing me to have burnout,
Right.
and burnout for me isn't like necessarily a physical burnout, it's like a mental and emotional and spiritual burnout.
Yeah.
Like spending time with God is no longer satisfying to me. I don't
I
want to
agree.
do it anymore. It feels like it's a chore. It feels like
Mhm.
it's good. I could be doing other productive things, you
Right.
know, that would be more fulfilling.
mm,
um and it's like for me, it's like being aware of myself and being in seasons of burnout in the past. I'm like, oh shoot, I'm getting burnt out here, and like, but in the past, like I've just moved on. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, what do you think about that? Like, is that resonate with you? Is that
I mean, what I'm hearing, I think also is like your why, and we've talked extensively
yeah,
about the importance of a why.
yeah,
I think, but that's not enough to keep you from burnout,
yes,
right?
yes,
Right.
that's really
And I
true.
think that's a
Yes,
key idea that I want to extract from everything that you just said.
yeah, yeah,
Like spark note,
yeah,
like this
yeah,
idea that like just because you have your why and you're convicted and you live and do every action in your life
mm,
according to that why, you're still gonna burn out.
Yeah.
And so
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
turn that question around is it's like what's maybe not what's missing, but also like what else is it is important to have in your life
Mm,
in addition to a why, and maybe this is a question that you might need to chew on for a bit, but what
mm,
in addition to that why is important to have, going back to the podcast name, a good life, right? Like it's not
mm,
just about having a purpose and pursuing it
mm.
until until the wheels fall off. Right?
Oh, that's a good way to
Like
put it.
it's not
Yeah,
that's not the that like I
yeah,
wouldn't say that's necessarily a good
yeah.
life, right? I think
Mm,
a good life has
mm,
some sort of balance,
mm,
being very general and vague here, but some kind of like, you have your why, you're convicted, you're doing things that you love, you're passionate about it, but at the same time,
Yeah.
you shouldn't being burnt out doesn't go along with a good life.
yeah.
Like how do you got, you know what I mean?
No, no,
Like
no. I know what you're saying.
where what's missing there? What's missing?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Do you want to expand on that?
That's good. I would say it makes me think of the five W's and then the H. So you have your who, what, when, where, why, and how. And so
Okay,
we're talking about the why.
sure.
And so if we break it down, then we have the four W's to focus on:
Mm,
the who, what, when, where, and then you have your how. And I
Okay.
think the more that you hone in on what your why is, like what we're talking
mhm,
about, this whole process, that exploration,
mhm,
Sure.
I think the more that you get to discover also all those little facets in those other aspects of your life.
Mm,
You get to understand who you are more
mm,
in that
that's
process.
good.
You get to understand what you need to do more to take care of yourself.
mm,
Yeah.
You need to understand where those things happen. Where is a place that brings you peace?
mm.
You know, an environment, an atmosphere, right? When you
Yeah.
tackle more of the other four W's and
Mm,
the how,
mm,
this is the most tricky. I think what's very convicting, I think, especially dealing with burnout and coming out of college and trying to figure out your life with getting a job or a handle on life and just
mm,
trying to, I don't know, if whether you have dreams to achieve or not, just to be sustainable and keep yourself alive, it's
Mm,
like you have to have the conviction of the why, but also the understanding of the how. And
mm,
when you take part in that process of the
mm,
why, you start to learn the how. Because no one ever has it. I mean, this is us exploring what that looks like.
mm,
We don't have it all figured out, but
mhm,
we go through the process as if we can take part in something that feeds into the why, that also answers a little bit to the how. So
mhm,
then once again, like a circle, you get a better understanding of that why because
yeah.
you're learning more of the how.
mm,
Well,
Does that make sense?
it feels like, it feels like an equation, right?
Yeah,
Where
yeah,
like you
yeah.
have your why,
Right.
but like but like you have why plus no self-care equals bad outcomes.
Mm.
But then if you have why plus self-care, like journaling, rock
working
climbing,
out,
backpacking, working out,
meditating,
eating well,
journaling.
praying, meditating, then you have better outcomes.
Yeah.
You know, where but it's like but it's interesting. I wonder if the why is sort of a I wonder if in order to pursue the how we have to pursue the why. Like you know what I'm
That's
saying?
good.
Like in order for and
I
I wonder if
think
that's
I'm
like the
hearing
hero,
you.
like the hero's journey, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
in order for you to discover what you need to do to take care of yourself, you have to
Right.
be putting yourself in positions that you have to be questioning your why.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like for
Yes.
example, like
Mm,
for me, like in nursing school, people were like, "Oh," I was always like, "How hard?" I mean, I saw Anthony go through nursing school. I was like
Dude,
it
it
was
was a
hard.
How hard
breeze,
can
it
it
was a
be?
breeze.
It was, yeah,
Easy.
but his experience, he's
Yeah, yeah.
unique. He's a genius. So like, it's,
Disclaimer, that was my
Wow.
I felt like a lot in witnessing his journey,
Mm.
witnessing your journey of going through nursing school. You from what I observed, and you can affirm if this is wrong, like
Yeah.
you learned how to take no, like you learned how to take more care of yourself the deeper you were into it. The harder it was, the more you're like, oh, I really need to journal.
Yeah.
I really need to work out. And it felt like at the times when your life was at the hardest, the things that shined the most were your self-care. Because I was like, wow, he's really taking care of himself amidst all the stuff that he has.
Yeah,
Y-
that's good.
Is that
That's good.
true?
Yeah, and I think one thing I would say is that that was a choice, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think there's also the idea that y- sometimes you have to choose self-care,
Yeah.
and that means I think this idea that like choosing one thing means you're not choosing another. I
Mhm.
think a lot of people miss the
Oh,
idea.
that's interesting.
I think a lot of people miss the idea that like they say yes to one thing, that means you said no to 1,000 other things.
Mm.
I think people don't think that through because I think we live in a culture where we're always saying yes to the next best thing, right? Like, do you want to hang out? Yes. Do you want to grab dinner tomorrow? Yes. Let's watch the new Superman movie.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, tonight.
Oh,
I didn't
oh
watch
I
man.
want to start this.
Yeah. Oh, the Superman movie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of burnout, let's get burnt out tonight. Yeah.
Like,
Let's
yeah,
get.
like going back to this idea of like saying yes to everything.
Yeah.
I think that's can sometimes lead to burnout. I mean,
Yeah.
like let's talk about that because I think the issue is how hard is it to say no to people,
Mm.
right? Like I don't know,
Oh my God.
like
Oh.
I struggle with that, but I think
Oh,
in
dude.
some ways that kind
Yeah.
of can be the root of burnout
Yeah.
Yeah.
because the more things we say yes to, I think about it as a plate, right?
Yeah.
The thinner we're spread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was at this point in my life that you were bringing up earlier where
Yeah.
I was probably working around 4 part-time jobs,
Oh my God. That's.
trying
Wow.
to train for a bodybuilding competition
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
and finishing up nursing school. Like that sounds like a lot,
Yeah.
but in my own mind at the time, I was tunnel visioned and I
Yeah.
had this goal and I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And I said yes to absolutely everything.
You
And,
really
and
did.
if I look back at that time in my life, I don't know if that was the best choice for me.
Mm.
And I don't think that was the most emotionally healthy for myself.
So I guess
A lot, sorry.
no, 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 no.
That
I guess like a deeper question I would ask
Okay.
is like thinking back to that space because I remember observing you from the outside
Yeah, man.
of like you'd be like, oh yeah, now I'm doing this and now I'm doing that. I'm like, you sure you want to like add that onto your plate? Like,
It's like,
I
yeah.
already have. I'm like, yeah, sure. Yeah,
Keep
I know you like
going.
scooping more sugar. Like
Yeah.
my dad,
sugar,
my
huh?
dad made an analogy. Also, like the butter. Like he made an analogy of like every task, everything you say yes to is like adding a monkey on your shoulders.
Okay, good.
And it's like the more monkeys you have on your like he would always as a kid be like, Josh, I have a lot of monkeys on my back. Do you have a lot of monkeys on your back?
Yeah.
And it was like for me, I was like, oh, that's such a goofy analogy. But
Yeah.
looking back at it now, it really symbolizes sort of that weight that
That's good.
gets added onto our shoulders when we say yes.
Yeah.
So like thinking back to that season
Yeah.
where you were like saying yes, just totally rapid firing,
Yeah.
right? Like what were your hesitancies in saying no?
Ooh.
Like emotionally, spiritually, maybe even like did it what were your perceptions of yourself that like what was holding you back from saying no?
You know, I think what it was is this idea that like I don't want to let anyone down.
Okay.
I think at the root of it, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Like this idea that saying yes pleases people, and
Mhm.
as a people pleaser, like, and this is
Mhm.
something I have to work through. I
Mm.
wouldn't consider myself a people pleaser now. I can get
Mhm.
into that later, but
Yeah.
I think at the time, like saying yes to everything meant that I was being the best that I could be. I like had myself convinced that
Mm.
the best person, the best version is always open to helping others,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Like that
Mm.
can't be a bad thing.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like you want to hang out, yeah, I'll make time for you.
Mm.
Like you want to grab dinner, like
Mm.
yes, I'll make time for you.
Mm.
But all at the cost of I think my own, one like health,
Mm.
but also like my own ability to stay, it led to burnout, I
Yeah.
think. So I think
Right.
there's a gauge there, and if you can't burn out, then if you burn out, then you can't do any of that stuff
Right.
Because you're pouring from an empty cup.
because you're pouring from empty. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
But also another thing, Jesus Christ, these
I know.
mosquitoes are like destroying me.
Crazy, I know.
But another thing too is like I asked that question of like what was stopping you
Yeah.
because I think that also too burnout doesn't come from you just getting tired.
No. Yeah.
Burnout comes from you going far beyond your tired capacity
Mm.
and actually like going beyond what you had capacity to do. Like you are overdrawing from your capacity. Like you're
Right.
in negative zone in terms of energy,
Yeah.
right? And so it's like it's interesting how being a people pleaser, being a yes, yes, yes person,
Mm.
like pushes us to be in positions that we're overdrawn. You
Right.
know, so I think
Mhm.
maybe pivoting to kind of like, well, what's next? Like how what do you so looking back at that season, it sounds like you said, well, okay, I'm not in that season anymore. If I look back, I know that I would maybe act differently if I was where I am now.
Yeah.
Like, what are the
Yeah.
steps that you've taken since then
Yeah.
to change the way you look at burnout, to be more sensitive about you being
Mhm.
burnt out, and like
Yeah.
what would if I was someone who was feeling burnt out right now, which
Mhm.
I am,
Yeah.
how what do I do about that?
That's good. I'm also curious to see what you guys
I
do.
want to
I
hear,
think,
yeah,
yeah, I think I'll touch on this real quick though. I think the resolve of that story, so the end of it, right?
yeah,
Like this guy working 4 part-time jobs, bodybuilding competition,
Yeah.
and doing nursing school, all that, graduating.
yeah,
That season, I probably learned the most. And
mm,
I think this is where I think sometimes, God puts us in these seasons of life where we are going through ups and downs and
mm,
we're burnt out and we
yeah,
like are complete like I was just pulp.
you were done.
Right.
I was like
Yeah.
it's like a smoothie that was just repeatedly smashed.
Yeah,
Like I was just in the blender again and again
you
and
just kept, and you
for some
intentionally kept throwing yourself
and I threw
back in the
myself
blender.
in, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
for some reason like I held
yeah,
strong.
Right.
mm,
Like I got through that season and to
yeah,
this day I still think about that time in my life
Yeah.
and it's so validating I think in some ways because I am reminded that like I did that. Like
mm,
I that it
mm,
was possible for me to get through that such difficult time in my life. Like what is this difficult day, right?
Yeah.
And this is
mm,
one day out of that very gruesome months of
mm,
toiling away,
Right.
mm.
right? Like just going ham at it.
Yeah. So
And
no, like so like it sounds like step one is you got to be aware.
awareness, yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
you got to be
Awareness is key.
aware that you are burning out and what that feels like
Mm.
and what that's doing to
That's good.
you
Yeah.
cognitively, emotionally, spiritually, like
Mm.
every category of your life, how that's affecting you.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
because if you can't be aware of it, then
Yeah.
how are you gonna even know?
It's like I mean, as a nurse, like we for patients, you
Mm,
have to diagnose the patient before you can treat the patient.
yeah,
Right.
You can't just treat them without a diagnosis.
right, or assessment.
Right. So
Yeah.
in the same way, like I think we diagnose
Mm,
the issue in our lives, which
mm,
is burnout. We have to realize that that's the case
right,
Right.
before we can take any action
right.
in it. I
Yeah.
think that's with
That's
anything.
good. It's like a simple, like, once again, like that simple equation
Yeah.
almost is like you have to acknowledge like the issue that's wrong in your life,
Mm,
the steps to execute so you can take care of that issue,
mm,
and then hopefully the equals then is as a healthy consequence of either solutions towards that thing
mm,
or a betterment of yourself so that you can healthily engage with that issue.
mm.
You know what I'm saying? And
Uh,
I like that a lot.
yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
Good.
no, yes, you're gonna
No, keep
say
going.
something?
I have a great thought, but like, keep
No,
going.
I'm done.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's what see. I got with the okay.
Like,
I got.
yeah, yeah, you're
I,
good.
that's something I got to work on.
You're chilling.
But no, it's interesting, right? Like, I wonder if like that model of an equation can be applied to prevent burnout, right? So like,
Yeah,
you're
that's
feeling
good.
burnt out, and Anthony's like, "Yo, you want to go see the Superman movie?"
Heck yeah, let's
And
do
I
it.
gotta pull up my equation and be like, "I'm burnt out.
Mm,
I'm burnt. For the viewers, I'm burnt out.
that's good.
Plus,
Yeah.
going to see this movie equals me better."
Mm,
Or equals me getting more burnt out.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like, and I feel like I've probably for all of us like being burnt out, like I've subconsciously learned how to do that. Where it's
mhm,
like someone asks me something, and my instant response is no longer yes, I'll totally do it. It's a well, let me gauge how I'm feeling
Yeah.
energy wise, and I do the calculation. I'm like, okay, I'm not feeling 100% burnout. I think I would benefit from the social time,
yeah.
and seeing that movie would be pretty awesome. Therefore,
Yeah.
I will benefit and come out stronger from it.
Yeah.
Versus like I just had a really hard exam, like that happened the other day,
Mm,
Right.
where you're like, "Hey,
Yeah.
do you wanna work on this stuff?" And I was like on the fence, like, dude, I had a terrible exam, and like I'm totally dealing with imposter syndrome from that, and I really want to go, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
yeah.
Versus if you asked me that question 3 years ago, I'd been like, dude, drop everything, let's go do
Yeah.
it. I'll spend 10 hours with you. And then
Oh,
I would
yeah.
come out the other end of that being like, probably shouldn't have gone.
Yeah.
And so
There's something good in that, I think.
yeah, I wonder if there's like a functional way to like to imagine like
Mm.
going into every sort of yes opportunity
Yeah.
with that sort of equation. Is that kind of how
Can-
what you
I want to add something.
yeah,
So
tell me.
I think it's like that instance where your friends are like, oh, like let's go do something. Like for example, like
Mm,
it's Wednesday, hump day of the week,
mhm,
and they're like, okay, let's go to the beach. It's 7 p.m. Like you have an
mm,
exam the next day, maybe. I don't know.
mm.
Like
Sounds
I'm not
specific.
saying I'm not
Yeah.
story.
I don't know.
Yeah, sounds a little too real, huh?
Yeah.
But like if you think about it, like taking that opportunity, that risk to say yes to something like that for that one moment when you understand what happens
Mm,
if you dropped everything and you actually were present with that,
mm,
and not to do it every single time, I think could actually be a healthy way to engage with life without
yes.
being burnt out.
Yes.
But the thing
Yes.
is, then you
Yeah.
have to really understand the cost of what that does. Because
Yes. That's true.
and I think what we are trying to discover and understand more is like burnout isn't necessarily just something that'll just come to you and you just go about life and it's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you're gonna receive it.
Yeah.
It's like you're gonna create those opportunities where it's
Yeah.
like it gets too overwhelming
Mm,
and then burnout happens.
mm,
Or you say once again yes to all of these things and burnout happens.
good,
And I'm like,
yeah.
oh, come on, like
But
the answer's right in front of you.
but it's funny that you mentioned that because
Yeah.
I feel like myself and probably Anthony too. Like I remember there was one time when Anthony and I were talking back when he was in. I'm not trying to tell your story, but like he texted me. I was like, hey, like how's it going? Like I'm checking in with you, and the first thing he said to me was like, oh, like I'm good, but I'm feeling burnt out.
Oh yeah.
But I talked to him the day before, and
Yeah.
he wasn't burnt out, and
Yeah.
it felt like to me, and you can tell me
Mm.
if you believe this to be true. It's like it felt like it crept up on you, where all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, wait, I'm actually like exhausted.
I think that's the realization. That's the awareness.
Yeah,
Going back to what we were
yeah,
talking about earlier, is that first
yeah.
sign. I think it's one thing to recognize, I think, burnout,
Mm,
and it's another to actually like take action, I think,
mm,
towards that, right?
mm,
Yeah.
Because I could
yeah,
be in a sinking ship, but I can choose to stay in that ship,
yeah.
Right.
right? But
Oh,
then
That's good
I
answer.
feel so exposed right
I,
now.
Yeah.
I think in some analogies, like
Yeah,
you are in a lot of ways, like I think that we are sometimes our own like biggest enemy because we
yeah.
choose to be in the situations that we're in.
Yeah.
Mm,
Right, I was talking
Yeah.
to a friend at work, right? A
It's
little
good.
story time here. I was
story
at work,
time.
break time. We were sitting chilling. I was like, "Yo, dude, like, what's up, man? Like, you're in this job position. Like, you're getting paid a certain amount.
Mm,
Like, do you like where you're at?" And he's like,
mm,
"No, I don't know. Like, I want a little change. I want, something more." So I could
mm,
tell there was something that there was this gap between where he
mm,
wanted to be and where he was at.
mm,
Right.
And I asked him, I was like, "So what are you gonna do about it?" Like, I straight up asked him, right,
mm,
to his face.
Oh
mm.
wow.
Just a challenging question. Um, and he
Dang.
sat there for a minute and he thought to himself and he's like, I don't know. I think I've just been really comfortable and I think maybe around sometime maybe next year,
Wow.
sometime same time,
Yeah.
I might not be working here anymore.
Mm,
And I think that was so good because I'm so glad that I posed that question to him because I don't know if I didn't, like he might just continue to live on comfortably. And I think this idea
Yeah.
that we don't even know sometimes when we're in like a comfortable season in life, like
mm,
we just cruise through that.
Yeah.
mm,
It's like a car cruising on the freeway and like you just lose track of time. Sometimes
mm.
you're comfortable in that season and you
Right.
don't and you need I think this is where other people come in. You need people to nudge you, to remind you like,
Yeah.
"Hey man, like what's going on? You've changed, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
That's
up?
true.
Like why is your hair all messed up? Like
Mm,
looks like you gained 5 pounds. What's up, man?" Like
mm.
be real about
Right.
that honest change.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Because sometimes I think the truth hurts, right? As
Mm,
cliche as that is, but I think sometimes the truth
mm.
also reveals a change and action that needs to happen.
Yeah.
So step one,
It's good.
be aware.
Step
Step
one, be aware.
two, have equations built into your muscle memory. But
That
step
takes time.
three,
That takes time to learn too.
Yeah.
right? But step three is like surround yourself with people who are willing to call you out
Yeah.
in an effort to protect you from burnout.
And I think that's a topic for another episode too.
Yeah.
This
Absolutely.
idea of like who your friends are, who your
Yeah.
closest like circle is,
Right.
who you choose to allow to speak into your life.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think that dictates. I mean, they always say like you're the average of the 5 people you spend the
Yeah.
most time with.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think we have to like unpack that in another episode. But,
Yeah.
like this
I'm
idea
pretty
that
average.
like, are we inviting good influences into our lives? Like,
Right.
are we
Ooh.
letting those things speak into us? And
In the next coming episodes.
It's
in the
good.
next coming episode,
Yeah.
we got a little bit more. I think the idea. I think you brought up of opportunity costs earlier.
Opportunity
I think
cost. That sounds like REITs. That sounds like.
Well,
business
I was like, are we in a business right now?
Okay.
Wow, burnout.
I remember learning about this in economy in my economics class.
Oh,
Okay.
It's like this idea that, and it changed my view of the world.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I want to share with you.
Okay.
It's this idea that like going back to the saying like yes to one thing is also saying no to 1,000 other things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
that's really
It's
interesting.
for instance,
Yeah, I
like
see
I was
that.
talking to my friend about this, right? Like him choosing to take off work.
Mhm.
It's more than him not making the $200 that he would have make going to work. It's
Right.
more than that. It's him taking a day off, and he's probably out there spending money too.
Yeah.
And so it's
Yeah.
on top of not making that money, he's spending more.
Right.
Yes.
So sometimes I think there's more I think under the hood that we
Oh,
don't
yeah.
realize
Mm.
that's affecting our lives more in ways that we don't really expect.
Mm.
Yeah. Wait. So what's the question then that you have? Kind of like dangling here.
I think the idea that we I think the question that I have for myself, at least, that I pose often is
Mm.
does saying, and I'm wondering how you guys filter between yes
Mm.
and no, right? Like, I
Mm.
think everyone has their own filter.
Mm.
And I think Josh brought up this idea of like different facets in life your
Mhm.
health, your spiritual aspect, your
Mhm.
emotional.
Mhm.
Just the other day, like, it was probably like 9 p.m. and I asked Josh, like, you want to go out to, you want to get boba and like do some work?
Yeah.
And he was like, man, this feels really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I knew he was like just packed, and I was
Yeah.
like honestly crazy surprised that he like decided to go.
Yeah.
But how? Okay, like
So maybe
example
that.
in
Yeah.
practice,
Yeah.
how did
Yeah.
you come
So
about?
that's a great.
How
That's
did you come
actually a
about
great
to the
example.
yes
Okay.
to
So
saying that at such a crazy hour and spontaneous?
yeah. So like, let me give some context. So I think was that Saturday?
It was probably like 3 days ago, maybe.
It was Saturday.
Before
Okay.
I
So
started working.
I had. Yeah. So I worked that day
Yes.
in the emergency room, which are 12 hours, by the way,
Yeah.
and they're not easy shifts.
Long.
You know,
Yeah.
and that particular shift was hard. And I also like at the time I had laryngitis, and so that exacerbated me losing my
You
voice.
have what?
Okay, larynx is like your vocal cords,
Oh, okay.
and itis means like inflammation. So like
Oh.
my vocal cords were inflamed,
Oh,
which when that happens you lose your voice, which you can kind of still hear right now. I'm like still
Yeah.
on the recovery from that.
I mean, it sounds like kind of like a attractive but like healthy. Masculine.
That raspy.
You're like,
You know, yeah, you know what I'm saying?
give me laryngitis.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah, but
maybe.
yeah, sign me up. Here, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But no. So I had just come off shift. I had like virtually almost lost my voice,
Mhm.
and but you know, nursing school, like you always have stuff to do,
Right,
and
right.
and I was like, I still got to get this stuff done. And side note, I have ADHD, so like studying at home is not really a great idea, and so
Yeah.
I usually always go out to study.
Mm.
And so yeah, pretty much Anthony, he texted me and he's like, hey, like we're gonna like work on some stuff. Do you want to go out and do like
Mind
lots
you, it
of
was like
boba
9:30
I was like
p.m.
9:30 at that
Wow.
point. I also had work the next morning.
Yeah.
I was sitting. I remember I was sitting on the bed. And I was like, oh, I really want to go because I want to get it over with. But so the part of me that was debating was like, I am tired, but I realized that if I was in that space with a guy whom I love and care for,
Yeah.
a brother who I love and care for, like
Yeah.
I knew that I would be able to get my stuff done.
Right.
And so like going into opportunity cost, if I said no, there is a great likelihood I wouldn't get any stuff done.
Right.
If I said yes, I might get home a little later, I might go to bed later, but I know for a fact I'm gonna get what I want to get done.
Right.
And so like I like intentionally sort of weighed like
Weighing the pros and
yeah,
cons.
like I knew physically I'd be more tired, but I knew
Yeah.
also mentally I would feel better that I got all this
Yeah.
stuff done, which I know for I would. The trade-offs, like
Like
the
David said,
yes, exactly the trade-offs. And so that was what I weighed, and I'm sure you could pull up the text, but I literally was like debating verbally to him. I was like, I really want to go, and I know I'd get stuff done, but I'm also super tired, and also I like lost my voice, so
I
probably
see.
wouldn't be that much in for
I was
you.
probably a horrible friend. I was like, dude, just go.
Yeah.
Get burnt out,
Yeah.
get burnt out.
I
But
think like
yeah, the topic.
chiming in with that,
Yeah.
I think that's what that can sorry, how do I form this? That can definitely be like a
Mm.
definitive thing that like clearly allows you to see borderline where
Yeah.
your burnout is at. When a
Yes.
friend is in the picture, which
Yeah.
is why like of course that's like another
Yeah.
conversation for another day because
Yeah.
who you surround yourself with like they'll either influence you to kind of build those healthy habits
Yeah.
or they'll push you to like
They'll push you in the
maybe
wrong
do
direction.
something
Yeah.
wrong or something else.
Right. Or let's go to a whole beach day when they know for a fact that you are burnt out.
Yeah.
You know, right?
And you have
Like
an exam at
yeah,
the next
exactly.
day,
7 a.m. It's like let's go to the beach.
Crazy. Yeah.
No, and I feel like that's what I appreciate about Anthony. That's what I appreciate about you a lot. Is like that you know it's you know me well enough that like you know my oh my god
Uh-oh.
yeah don't want to make it too emotional here, but you know my boundaries, and I feel like you also you speak some of my language in terms of like you can read me better in that when I said I'd like to go and I know I'd be more productive, but I just like should I go? And you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna get something out of it more so than you're gonna lose something by not going.
Yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean?
good. Yeah.
And I feel like that this sounds like a whole different podcast episode we should do.
Burnout.
Yeah, burnout.
Sounds like brotherly love.
Brotherly love. Yeah, which it
could
absolutely it
which
is.
could
Yeah,
sound, yeah.
but yeah. So going back to like that decision, like so post painting out, I remember driving home, and I think it was like 10:40 at that point.
Wow.
And I was like, I was relieved. I was tired, yes, but I was relieved that I went about it. And that kind of goes back to your thing about the beach, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like you kind of have to choose those sacrifices.
Mm.
Like where it's like because I think I don't want people to misinterpret
Mm.
the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Where it's like actually don't hang out with anybody.
Right.
Don't do anything fun.
Yeah.
Like just stay home and like completely focus on recharging all the time.
Right.
It's like, no, like you need your time to spend with people you care about and who
Yeah.
care about you.
Yeah.
And yes, you might sacrifice the burnout. You
Yeah.
might sacrifice maybe some of your energy
Right.
in this, but there's going to be so much that you could also benefit from. And so
Mm.
I guess like for the viewers, the listeners, like that's kind of something that I want to really press into
Yeah.
is like, it's finding that balance. And I don't stand this as as a perfect person in this, like finding that balance of like, being able to weigh what saying yes and what saying no will do for you.
Right.
And not in a selfish way, but in a self-caring way.
Yeah.
Of like, how much will I gain from this? And how much will I lose from this? And what are they proportionally?
Yeah.
You know,
That's good.
and you know what? Sometimes doing a beach day at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
can be totally worth it.
Oh,
Even
yeah.
if you have an exam the next morning.
Yeah.
But that well, maybe you give me a couple weeks, but
I'm gonna hold you to that,
that's
man.
oh my
Finals week.
finals week.
Y'all heard it. Straight from Josh's mouth.
Yeah, but that's the balance that I think that if you can lock in,
Right.
oh my God, you will be able to do things that you still want to do
Yeah.
without always sacrificing or being on the fringe of being burnt out.
And the
You know?
feeling of guilt of saying no too, I think
Yes,
is something that
totally.
Yeah.
takes time to work through as
Yeah,
well.
and it can help you go walk through that too, right? Because if you weigh for yourself, okay, am I going to get burnt out from this or not? And you come out of the other end of that process being like, no, it's actually going to be too difficult for me to do the things I need to do afterwards
Right.
if I go,
Yeah.
then saying no makes more sense. And you won't, I mean, well, I still feel bad about it, but like you won't feel as bad because it's justified. Versus when you're just trying to fight yourself to say no,
Yeah.
it's so much harder to have that battle with yourself, at least for me.
So
You
good.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Dude, that's good, man. We're coming closer to time here.
Yeah.
I think just to sum it up, and I think what we talked about, like number one, again, you said awareness is
Awareness.
super key.
Yeah.
I think being aware of the season that we're in, whether
Mm.
we're burning out or whether we're not,
Mm.
Right.
maybe we could add a little more gas to the pedal.
It's good.
And the second step I think also is like learning how, like, what we do about that awareness. Do we address
Yeah.
it, or do we just push it under the rug,
Yeah.
Yeah.
keep it to the next season, right? Let that cheese mold in there.
Oh, I
Like
see.
that's not good, right? You want to
Yeah.
address that.
Unless you want good
Yeah.
cheese, but
Unless you want good cheese.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry,
I
that
don't know about that.
yeah.
Let the
Good.
rats get to it
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, you're
But
good.
just and then this idea also of like yes and no. How do we discern
Right.
that? I think sometimes that comes from our circle of friends,
Yeah.
right? Like the people that are
Mm.
pouring into our lives.
Right.
Maybe we can talk about next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think is a good topic. And there's all these different facets of health. Sometimes
Yeah.
we're going out and hanging out with friends,
Mm.
working on our social life
Mm.
at the expense of maybe we have to skip that workout,
Mm.
Yeah.
and that's okay, I think, as
Mm.
long as we're aware of what we're losing, what we're
Right.
costing,
Right.
And what you're gaining.
and what you're gaining,
Yeah.
right? And it's always like that. Like
Mm.
you say yes to one thing, you say no to 1,000 others, right?
Yeah,
Like that
that's
thing we've been
good.
repeating over and
Yeah.
over again.
Yeah.
And finally, I think the last word, I think that I got out of this is just it takes time.
Yeah.
Like be patient with yourselves. Like know that this process is slow and it can be painful,
Yeah.
and it's gonna feel like you're gonna feel guilty at first of saying no to people. I
Yep.
think
Yeah.
you guys all resonate with that. I
Yeah.
think that
Still do.
idea that it's this, we're constantly like this work in progress that
Mm.
keeps on
Mm.
being molded, right? Like
Mm.
like God is the sculpture, right?
Mm.
We're the sculpture, and he's the one that molds us into
right.
this clay, this masterpiece.
Come on.
Do you guys have last words on that before I close this off in a little bit of prayer?
Mm. I would say one last thought for me is like take a very significant amount of time finding what helps rejuvenate you,
Wow.
because that's a very personal journey.
Yeah.
Because what rejuvenates me doesn't rejuvenate you. What doesn't rejuvenate Anthony doesn't rejuvenate.
It's different.
You know, it's
Yeah.
it's a very individualized choice. And so I would say, like, because it's so individualized, take the time. You know, for me, I learned from him, cafes are it. Like going to a space that's different, enjoying like the environment, the drinks, tea wise, and just being able to be like that's what rejuvenates me. That's what refreshes me.
Yeah.
But that could mean some people could get so bored of cafes.
Yeah.
You know, like it could, but that could mean watching a
We
TV
can go on a
show.
backpack
That could be
trip, dude,
going
for
on a
4 days and
backpack
not
trip for
shower.
12
Like
miles.
Like
and not
12
shower.
plus miles in like rough
And
conditions.
Yeah, but
God,
find your water, find your essentials.
It's good.
Find your essentials that can get you through that journey, that can prevent you from getting burnt out. And I think that the more you find what is suitable for you, the better off you're going to be in those journeys where you're on the precipice of being burnt out.
that's so good. And to circle back, I
Wow.
think
Yeah.
the importance of also what we talked about in the beginning, your
Yeah.
why, right? Like
Yeah.
let's close it off
Yeah.
there. I think with knowing your why on top of all that,
Right.
not that your why is the most important thing, but
Right.
it's such a crucial aspect
Right.
Yeah.
of that. David, last words.
Yeah. Just to affirm that, I think being sure that one thing that came through my mind is give yourself grace for the process of discovering your why. To not be so hard on that process of discovering what your why is because you don't know how to do it. But in that process of living out your why, then you get to learn the how. And then they almost work hand in hand with each other. The more that you give yourself grace, you understand like it's not a war against why and how. They both simultaneously work together as
Yeah.
long as you're willing to allow that to happen.
That's
So
good.
if you keep pushing that away, it's not going to come to you.
Yeah.
So I think having an open mind and considering with everything dealing with burnout and what we talked about today, which is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, having a self-awareness, having these calculated equations in your head, the proportions of if I say no to this, how many yeses or what does this look like if I say yes to this one thing? What does this no look like in all these other ways?
Yeah.
Considering that,
Yeah.
being thoughtful that way,
Intentional.
intentional. And yeah, I think the last thing is just being able to execute that, saying yes
Yeah.
confidently and just going for that.
And saying no confidently.
Yes. And saying
Ooh.
and just stepping back, like, okay,
Yeah.
the
I
hard
don't
one.
need to do
Yeah.
this.
Saying no.
Yeah.
Saying
Yeah.
no.
Come on.
Yeah, dude, I think that was beautiful.
Good.
Close
I love that.
Thank
close
you.
it off there.
All
Father
right.
God, thank you just for this time, this ability that we have to have a voice, and just appreciate you for giving us this platform that we can share a little bit about our experiences, and not that it's a word of advice for anyone or that it's, should be taken as necessarily truth, but God, that this is our experience and this is what we've lived and this is what we've learned from it. And God, may whoever's listening just take it as they will. Maybe with a grain of salt, or maybe it's, the best thing since sliced bread. But God, just thank you for just the gift of life that the gift of friends, the gift of fellowship, the people around us that make us really into who we are, as we'll get into in this next episode. Um, and just thank you, God. We love you, and in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen,
Amen.
amen, amen.
All right, folks. So that's gonna be episode 2.
Episode 2.
It's the Good Life. I'm Anthony, joined by my co-host here, David Herring, featuring Josh Yee, your practical guide to adulting. See you guys in the next one.
What?